Welcome, this is Lab 6.2, first question. Here we have some ending inventory errors we're going to need to correct. And so it's going to change the amount of the ending inventory, the cost of goods sold, and the amount of the net loss. So in all 3 years we have a net loss. So we need to remember that if we're increasing the net loss, if we're increasing the expenses, that increases the amount of the net loss. If we're decreasing the expenses, the cost of goods sold in particular, decreased cost of goods sold, that will decrease the amount of the net loss. So first stop, we're going to do the balance sheet. So we can drag the amount of the inventory down into the, let's drag them all down. We have cost of goods sold there, we have net loss there. So let's just put the starting numbers in, and then we'll correct them by adjusting them for the various errors. Okay, so the corrected ending inventory here for the first one, inventory is overstated, so that means, whoops. Let's go to the end. We need to subtract 32,000 because we have too much in ending inventory. So if it's the wrong number in ending inventory, that means that the cost of goods sold, we have to do the opposite for that inventory because it was put into inventory in error. So we have the same cost of goods available for sale. The cost of goods available for sale either goes into ending inventory or into cost of goods sold. We overstated our inventory, which means we understated our cost of goods sold. So the correct calculation here is we do the opposite for this year's ending inventory. And then, since this is the net loss, if we increase our cost of goods sold, an increase in cost of goods sold increases the amount of the net loss. So we take 75,000 and we do the same thing. We add the 32,000 because it's going to increase the amount of the loss. And that's a little bit of a trick that Dirks is doing to us there. Okay, then we go on to 2015. 2015, we've got inventory overstated again, and it's overstated by 18,000. And just like we did in the first year, in 2014, when we overstate ending inventory, we understate cost of goods sold. So we need to increase it for the 18,000. But we also have to consider the error from the previous year, because in the previous year, the ending inventory was overstated by 32,000. That ending inventory is this year's beginning inventory, which means that our beginning inventory would be overstated by 32,000. And that 32,000 is allocated between ending inventory and cost of goods sold during the year. That 32,000 didn't actually exist. So that means our cost of goods sold this period would have been too high by 32,000. So we need to undo the effect of the overstatement from the previous year. We're subtracting 32,000. Now once again, we increased it by 18,000, subtracted 32,000. The effect on the cost of goods sold expense will be the same as the effect on the net loss. So if we're increasing the expense for 18,000, that increases the amount of the loss. We're decreasing the cost of goods sold expense for 32,000 from the previous year. It decreases our net loss this period. So take the 78,000 and we add the 18,000 and we subtract the 32,000 to get 64. Okay, so then we go to 2016, 582,000. There's no error, which means that I guess we figured out how to count our ending inventory properly. So 582,000. There's no error in the ending inventory. But there still was an error in the opening inventory because that 18,000 from 2015 would have overstated our cost of goods available for sale this period. So we need to subtract that 18,000 from our cost of goods sold because we have too much in our cost of goods available for sale. Once again, whatever we do the cost of goods sold expense, we're decreasing the expense by 18,000. That will decrease the amount of the net loss. So subtract 18,000 from there as well. And that should take care of it. So let's see what Dirks thought. Dirks agrees. We're done.